Geoffrey Kent. Geoffrey is a serial entrepreneur, having launched 20 plus entrepreneurial ventures over the last 5 decades, who took his last tech venture, Cognis IT, from launch to successful exit in 6 years a decade ago. In addition to an MBA in Entrepreneurial Management from the Wharton School of Business at the University of Pennsylvania, Geoffrey has been an executive at Xerox Corporation, AT&T, the Erving Group, a holding company owned by NBA Hall of Famer Julius Dr. J. Erving, and Deloitte Consulting. He has also taught entrepreneurship at Lincoln University, has judged Drexel University's annual business plan competition, and has served on multiple corporate boards of directorships. Without any further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce to you Geoffrey Kent from Think Big with Geoffrey Kent.
Let me just share my screen here. So are you seeing my presentation?
Yes, how to launch and grow your business.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I really like that color scheme.
Oh, thank you. All right, so good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to, oh, hold on just one second here. Make one quick adjustment. All right. All right, so good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to present at your weekly Alliance call at Global Business Alliance. Today, I'd like to share my insight on how each of you can launch and scale the exponential growth of your venture to your desired exit. As Gabriel mentioned in my bio, my name is Geoffrey Kent, and I'm a serial entrepreneur and founder of Think Big with Geoffrey Kent. Over the next 15 to 20 minutes, I intend to show you how some entrepreneurs succeed while most fail. I'd like to start by telling you about an interview Warren Buffett gave a few years ago. During this interview, Warren was speaking about his golden rules for success and gave the following advice. He said, "You drift in the direction of people you associate with. Studies suggest that you are the average of the 5 people you spend most of your time with. Therefore, you should choose your business partners very carefully, as they tend to have an impact on your life and success." What Warren was saying is that the best way to be successful is to do what successful people do. I mentioned earlier that I was a serial entrepreneur, so I've successfully done entrepreneurship. I majored in entrepreneurship while getting my MBA from the Wharton School of Business, so I've studied entrepreneurship. And I was an adjunct professor of entrepreneurship at Lincoln University, so I've also taught entrepreneurship. Before I launched my last and most successful entrepreneurial venture, I went back to Penn's campus to solicit advice from my 5 entrepreneurship professors. The question I asked them was, what one piece of advice would you give me that if I implemented would maximize the probability of my venture succeeding? As I reflected on my conversations and the books my professors asked me to read about scaling business growth, it occurred to me that I was hearing some consistent themes about what successful entrepreneurs attributed to their success. So I deliberately infused these traits into my new business before it was launched. And to my surprise, everything worked. A business launched with $2,000 and a 200 square foot loft of a friend's townhouse was sold 6 years later, and that allowed me to retire a decade ago. So let me share with you the template that all successful entrepreneurs follow to fuel their success. The first thing all successful entrepreneurs do is take the time to figure out what they're passionate about. Then they build a business around their passion. Let me explain how this is done. In 2015, when Ryan Kaji was 3 years old, his parents created the Ryan Toys Review YouTube channel to upload videos of Ryan opening and playing with toys. In less than a year, Ryan's channel was one of YouTube's top kids channels. Ryan now has 9 YouTube channels, 34.6 million subscribers, and a net worth exceeding $100 million, all at the ripe old age of 11 years old. In my case, I discovered that my passion is in running businesses. I've launched businesses that range from industries as diverse as information technology, sports and entertainment, transportation, clothing, electronics, and asset recovery to food and beverages. I've learned to succeed by always partnering with an expert in the industry I invest in. This gives me the advantage of having a resident expert who can help me navigate through all the obstacles unique to whatever industry my business is in. The second thing all successful entrepreneurs do is laser focus on serving a niche target market they can dominate. They don't try to be everything to everybody because they understand that every customer isn't a good customer. They also understand that when your name becomes synonymous with the product or service you provide, expanding your customer base becomes infinitely easier. Let me explain how this works. Palo Alto Delivery was founded in 2013 by 4 students at Stanford University to get food delivered to their dorm room on campus using Federal Express's hub and spoke business model. You know Palo Alto Delivery by its new name, DoorDash. 10-year-old DoorDash is now responsible for over 60% of all food delivery orders in the United States, delivering to 32 million users with annual revenues of $6.6 billion in 2022. Here's how I applied this principle. When I launched my information technology business in 2007, I laser focused on only serving prospective customers within a 5-mile radius of my office. This ensured my technicians could get to a customer in less than 10 minutes whenever we got a service call. We became so dominant, people assumed we were significantly larger than we were, which made it easy to expand our service market. The third thing all successful entrepreneurs do is identify and target prospective customers who believe what they believe. Then they build lifelong relationships with these customers, transforming them into evangelists for their brand who influence the next group of prospective customers to join the community they built. What they understand is that people listen to their peers without the distrust that they have for salespeople. Let me explain how this works. Buffalo Exchange is a used clothing resale business that was launched 49 years ago with the mission to provide bargain hunters with carefully curated clothing in a boutique-like setting with everything priced at $3.50 or less. Today, the business has expanded to 45 stores with annual revenues exceeding $178 million in 2021. Here's how I implemented this principle. Shortly after launching my information technology firm, I decided to join the local Chamber of Commerce. On my first visit to the chamber, I was told that their computer server had crashed, and their tech support vendor told them they couldn't get out to assess the problem for 3 to 4 days. So I asked one of my technicians to drive to the chamber and fix the problem for free. When I told the chamber their server was dying and needed to be replaced, they gave me the order. The fourth thing all successful entrepreneurs do is form unconventional strategic alliances with larger complementers, suppliers, customers, and competitors to obtain pre-qualified leads. Now all they have to do is close the sale, deliver the product or service, and then split the revenues with their strategic alliance partner. Let me explain how this works. Bonnie Bell is a cosmetics business that introduced a product called Lip Smackers, the first flavored lip gloss for teenage girls in 1973. To inspire new flavors, they partnered with brands like Dr. Pepper, Starburst, Skittles, Coca-Cola, and Disney. Lip Smackers sales exceeded $100 million by 2001 and was sold for an undisclosed amount in 2015. Here's my personal example with this principle. A couple months after launching my IT business, I decided to respond to an RFP to provide tech support to the 5th largest school district in the country. I didn't qualify to be a prime vendor on this contract, so I asked Dell Computer if they'd consider partnering with me on a response to the RFP. It took some convincing, but Dell eventually agreed to partner, and we won the 5-year, $12.5 million contract, and this was in my first year of business with my venture. The fifth thing all successful entrepreneurs do is monitor and measure the forward-looking activities that lead to sales, not just the sales themselves. They understand that you can't change the past, but you can course correct to alter your future. By reverse engineering one sale, and this should sound familiar because Gabriel mentioned this when he gave you the example earlier, you can uncover the blueprint to achieving future sales. Here's how you apply this principle. Let's assume your sales process starts with 64 initial contacts with prospective customers, like sending them an email. You follow up these 64 emails with phone calls which leads to 32 qualified leads. You follow up with phone calls to your 32 qualified leads, which generates 16 appointments to develop a solution for an identified prospective customer problem. After follow-up phone calls from the 16 appointments to discuss your proposed solution, 8 prospective customers request a formal proposal. After the 8 prospective customers receive their proposals, 4 of them ask you to make formal presentations of your proposal. Of the 4 presentations you make, 2 prospective customers ask to receive contracts. And of the 2 contracts you present to prospective customers, 1 leads to a sale. Now let's assume your goal for the upcoming month is to make 10 sales. You can multiply each of your steps to a sale by 10, then divide them by the number of work days in the month to determine what you have to do each day of the month to stay on track to achieve your goal. If it took 64 emails to make 1 sale and you wanted to make 10 sales, you'd need to send out 640 emails this month. Assuming there are 20 work days this month, you divide 640 emails by 20 work days, which would mean you'd have to send out 32 emails per day. Now, based on prior history, you'd expect the 32 emails sent out on day 1 would lead to 16 qualified leads on day 2. If you received less than 16 qualified leads on day 2, you'd adjust the number of emails you'd send out on day 2 to compensate for the gap in expected qualified leads. By making these types of daily course corrections, you're assured of regularly meeting or exceeding your sales goals. The 6th and final thing all successful entrepreneurs do is surround themselves with an A team to maximize the probability of achieving their business vision. There's a saying that an A team can figure out how to win with a losing hand, while a C team will figure out how to lose with a winning hand. Let me give you an example of how to assemble an A team. Let's say you were given 15 points to spend to build a roster of all-stars to win the NBA championship this season, and you'd get fired if your team didn't win the championship. What 5 players would you choose to be on your team? Now, knowing your job is on the line, I'm guessing some of your favorite players might not make your team. And this is the level of unemotional discipline required when surrounding yourself with co-founders, executive leaders, management, staff, advisors, and your board. Here's how I apply this principle with my IT firm. When I launched, I had no money to hire employees, so I had to become proficient at dealing with marketing, customer service, sales, accounting, finance, administration, management, operations, information technology, purchasing, and legal issues. Until I could afford employees, my solution was to get answers to questions by leveraging the expertise of fellow members of the Union League of Philadelphia and other business networking organizations. So I started by mentioning Warren Buffett's advice that the best way to be successful is to do what successful people do. So if your goal is to build a successful business, why reinvent the wheel? Why wouldn't you follow the path already laid out by other successful entrepreneurs? Imagine if you implemented what I've just shared with you to transform your business. Everything I've shared with you leverages the concept of game theory, which teaches that winning in business is best accomplished by playing a different game than your competitors, not by playing a better game. Game theory also teaches you that business is an infinite game that never ceases. Your goal in business should be to start with an exit point in mind or to build toward an event in the future that will allow you to take money off the table to secure your future and create generational wealth for your family. And then you repeat the process again because your next success is easier to achieve than your last success. So let me show you how this works. Let's assume you start by taking the time to figure out both what you're good at doing and what you enjoy doing 24/7, 365. Then you build a business around whatever this passion is. Now you envision the type of future exit event that allows you to extract capital from your success so you can secure your future. You identify what type of exit event you want to make happen, when you want it to happen, and how much annual revenues your company needs to achieve to ensure that you can execute the exit event you've envisioned. Once you know where you want to get to, you can reverse engineer the growth you need to achieve annually to get you from where you are to where you want to be. Now you can focus on the steps needed to achieve the exponential growth that gets you from your exit when you want to get there. First, you identify and laser focus on the problems of an unserved or underserved niche target market that you can dominate. The name recognition you'll gain from being the dominant provider of your product or services to this target market will make it infinitely easier to expand outside of this target market when you decide the time is right to do so. Second, you form the unconventional strategic alliances with larger companies that will allow you to transition from pushing your products and services onto customers like everyone else to pulling sales into your company through the pre-qualified leads you'll get from your strategic alliance partners. Third, by building family-like bonds with the customers your strategic alliance partner feeds you, your customers will eventually buy everything you sell and refer you to everyone they know all the way through to your exit. Fourth, by reverse engineering a sale to learn the sales generating steps you need to monitor and measure, you'll consistently meet or exceed your sales goals. And finally, when you surround yourself with an A-team of co-founders, executive leaders, managers, staff, mentors, and advisors, and board of directors, you'll finally have all the essential ingredients to realize your vision. The only thing left to do is build towards your exit, and this could be any of the following. You could sell your business to an interested buyer who's not affiliated with your company. You could sell your business to your co-founders. You could sell your business to your executive leaders or managers. You could sell or pass the business down to a family member. You could sell your business to all the employees of the business. You could restructure existing financing under more favorable terms to improve profitability and free up cash. You could sell your company stock on a public stock exchange through an initial public offering. Or you could shut down your business and sell all its assets. Now let's assume you sign a 1 to 2 year non-compete agreement with the buyer of your business. The buyer of your business knows you're the face of your business, and the business has a higher chance of succeeding under new ownership if you're still involved with the business. So the new buyer will most likely hire you as a full-time consultant to the business for the duration of the non-compete agreement. Once the non-compete agreement ends, the easiest thing for you to do would be to start another business just like the one you just sold, or rinse and repeat. Because of your previous success, you have a wealth of relationships with strategic alliance partners, customers, employees, mentors, and board members, all of whom shared in your success. Your entire network will gladly hop aboard your successful train for as many times as you're willing to leave the station. And this is how the infinite game of business creates generational wealth for your family. So before I get to any questions, I'd like to share why I call my business Think Big with Geoffrey Kent. Over a decade ago at a business lunch, I was asked what kind of world did I want to leave for my children when I was no longer here. As I thought of my answer to this question, I thought of the 9.3% or 736 million of the world's 8 billion person population that live in poverty. An interesting fact you may not know is that all net global job creation over the past 35 years has occurred because of jobs created by businesses less than 5 years old, or small businesses. So what if we created a big, hairy, audacious goal of scaling 8 million of the existing 582 million global entrepreneurial businesses so they could create the number of new jobs paying livable wages to eradicate global poverty? And what if we provided the entrepreneurs running these businesses with the training they needed to responsibly scale business growth until they reach 10 million in annual revenues, thus putting each of these businesses in a position to be able to create 100 jobs in their local communities? 8 million businesses times 100 jobs equals 800 million jobs. Guess what? We've just eradicated global poverty with 64 million jobs to spare. To achieve this big, hairy, audacious vision, I've formed a support community for entrepreneurs who want to scale to a minimum of 8 figures called the Entrepreneurial University Mastermind Group. I encourage you to register today, actively participate in the group, and be very vocal about the resources you need to succeed in your entrepreneurial journey.